Welcome to an exciting journey into the fundamental world of organic chemistry. Today, we'll unravel the crucial concept of homolytic and heterolytic bond fission. This topic is absolutely vital for understanding how organic reactions occur and how new molecules are formed. We'll explore this concept across 4 levels of depth: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, ensuring a comprehensive grasp for your main preparation. Let's dive in. Let's start with the basics. What are the two main ways a chemical bond can break? It's simpler than you think. Come along. Imagine a covalent bond where two atoms share a pair of electrons. This bond can break in two distinct ways. First, we have homolytic fission. This is when the shared electron pair is split equally between the two atoms. Each atom gets one electron, resulting in the formation of highly reactive species called free radicals. We use a special half-headed fishhook arrow to show the movement of a single electron. This type of fission often happens under harsh conditions like high heat or UV light, or with the help of special chemicals called peroxides. A simple example is a chlorine molecule breaking into two chlorine free radicals. Next, we have heterolytic fission. In this process, one of the atoms takes both of the shared electrons from the bond. This leads to the formation of ions, one positively charged and one negatively charged. When carbon is involved, these are called carbocations and carbanions. Here, we use a full-headed curved arrow to show the movement of an electron pair. Heterolytic fission is usually favored in polar solvents, which can stabilize the resulting ions, and when there's a big difference in electronegativity between the bonded atoms. For instance, a carbon-chlorine bond can break heterolytically to form a carbocation and a chloride ion. Understanding these two types of fission is the first step to unlocking reaction mechanisms. Now, let's test your understanding with a few practice questions. Take a moment to think about the definitions and examples we just covered. Q1. Which type of bond fission results in the formation of free radicals? Q2. Draw the arrow notation for the heterolytic fission of a CBr bond where Br is more electronegative than C. And Q3. Identify the products formed when a methane molecule undergoes homolytic fission of one CH bond. Good luck! Ready to go a bit deeper? Let's explore the mechanisms behind these bond fissions and what makes the resulting intermediates stable. Homolytic fission is the hallmark of free radical reactions, which often proceed through a chain mechanism: initiation, propagation, and termination. The stability of the free radicals formed is crucial. Tertiary free radicals are the most stable, followed by secondary, primary, and then methyl, thanks to effects like hyperconjugation and induction. The energy required to break a bond homolytically, known as bond dissociation energy or BDE, also plays a key role. Weaker bonds with lower BDEs break more easily. Think about the halogenation of alkenes as a classic example. Heterolytic fission, on the other hand, is characteristic of ionic reactions. The ions formed, carbocations and carbanions, have distinct stability orders. Carbocations are stabilized by alkyl groups through inductive effect and hyperconjugation, making tertiary carbocations the most stable. Carbanions, however, are generally destabilized by alkyl groups, making methyl carbanions more stable than tertiary ones, unless resonance stabilization is present. The electronegativity difference between bonded atoms and the polarity of the solvent are critical factors here, as polar solvents effectively stabilize the charged ions formed. So, how do we decide which type of fission occurs? It's a combination of factors. Low bond dissociation energy favors homolytic cleavage. A significant electronegativity difference between atoms favors heterolytic cleavage. Polar solvents, like water, stabilize ions and thus promote heterolytic fission, while nonpolar solvents favor homolytic fission. High temperatures and UV light are excellent sources of energy for homolytic bond breaking. Understanding these influences helps us predict reaction pathways and the nature of reactive intermediates. Time for some medium-level challenges. Q1. Explain why tertiary carbocations are more stable than primary carbocations. Q2. Predict the type of bond fission that would occur in a CH-CH bond in the presence of UV light. What are the products? Q3. Which of the following solvents would best promote heterolytic fission of a CCl bond, CCl, HO, benzene? Justify your answer. Q4. Arrange the given free radicals in increasing order of stability. And Q5. Describe the role of the propagation step in a free radical chain reaction. Take your time to formulate your answers. Now, let's push our understanding further. We'll compare these two fission types in detail and connect them to broader chemical theories. A comprehensive comparison reveals the distinct characteristics of homolytic and heterolytic fission. Homolytic fission is symmetrical, distributing one electron to each fragment, forming neutral free radicals. It's depicted by fishhook arrows and requires high energy inputs like heat or UV light, often occurring in nonpolar solvents. This mechanism underpins free radical substitutions and additions. In contrast, heterolytic fission is asymmetrical, with one fragment taking both bonding electrons to form ions. Full-headed arrows illustrate this, and it's favored by polar solvents, significant electronegativity differences, and often catalyzed by Lewis acids or bases. This pathway is central to nucleophilic substitutions, eliminations, and electrophilic reactions. The nature of their transition states also differs, with homolytic fission having less charge separation compared to the highly charged transition states of heterolytic fission. Let's consolidate these differences in a detailed table. We'll look at electron movement, the nature of products formed, the specific arrow notations, the energy inputs required, and the conditions that favor each type. We'll also link them to their associated reaction types and the characteristics of their transition states. For instance, notice how homolytic fission leads to free radicals and is common in polymerization, while heterolytic fission yields ions and drives SN1 or SN2 reactions. This tabular format helps to clearly distinguish and recall the key attributes of each fission type. The stability of intermediates directly impacts the feasibility of a fission pathway. Bond dissociation energy, or BDE, is a direct measure of the energy needed for homolytic cleavage, making weaker bonds more susceptible. For heterolytic fission, the heterolytic bond dissociation energy is influenced not just by bond strength, but critically by the stability of the resulting ions and their solvation in the solvent. Resonance and hyperconjugation are powerful electronic effects that stabilize both free radicals and carbocations, effectively lowering the activation energy for their formation. Conversely, solvent polarity plays a massive role. Polar solvents stabilize ions through solvation, promoting heterolytic fission, while nonpolar solvents do not, favoring homolytic pathways. Lewis acids and bases can also act as catalysts, assisting in heterolytic cleavage by facilitating ion formation. It's time for some hard-hitting questions. Q1. Compare the energy requirements for homolytic and heterolytic fission, considering the role of bond dissociation energy and solvation. Q2. In the chlorination of methane under UV light, describe the type of bond fission involved in the initiation and propagation steps. Q3. Why do polar protic solvents favor SN1 reactions, which involve heterolytic bond fission? Q4. Predict the major product and intermediate from CH, CBr in ethanol. Q5. Explain how hyperconjugation influences free radical and carbocation stability. Q6. Draw an energy profile diagram for a carbocation intermediate. Q7. Discuss how a Lewis acid promotes heterolytic fission. Good luck! Are you ready to tackle the pinnacle of this topic? We are about to delve into the most challenging aspects, including advanced energetics, quantum perspectives, and real-world applications. At the hardest level, we consider the advanced energetics of bond fission. For homolytic fission, BDE remains central. For heterolytic fission, the heterolytic bond dissociation energy is not just about bond strength, but critically involves the ionization potential of one fragment, the electron affinity of the other, and most importantly, the massive stabilization provided by solvent molecules through solvation energies. A conceptual Born-Haber cycle helps us quantify these contributions. Gas phase HBDEs are often prohibitively high. It's the solvent's ability to stabilize charges that makes heterolytic fission thermodynamically viable in solution. Understanding this intricate balance is key to predicting reaction outcomes in various environments. The transition state, TS, is a critical point on the reaction pathway. For homolytic fission, the TS is often radical-like, with electron density symmetrically distributed as the bond stretches. For heterolytic fission, the TS is highly polarized, with significant charge separation, resembling the nascent ions. Reaction coordinate diagrams illustrate that polar solvents significantly lower the activation energy for heterolytic pathways by stabilizing this charged TS. Furthermore, frontier molecular orbital (FMO) theory offers a quantum perspective. Bond breaking can be rationalized by the interactions between the HOMO and LUMO of reacting species, guiding electron flow and determining the pathway. For instance, a nucleophile's HOMO attacking an antibonding orbital can initiate heterolytic cleavage. Stereochemical and regiochemical outcomes are profoundly influenced by the type of bond fission. Homolytic fission often leads to planar or rapidly inverting free radical intermediates. If these intermediates are chiral, reactions can result in racemization due to attack from either phase. Regioselectivity in radical reactions is dictated by the stability of the radical intermediate, often leading to anti-Markovnikov addition in specific cases. In heterolytic fission, carbocations are typically planar and sp superscript 2 hybridase, also leading to racemization in SN1 reactions. Carbanions, depending on their stabilization, can be planar or pyramidal. The regioselectivity in ionic reactions, such as Markovnikov's rule in electrophilic additions, is governed by carbocation stability. These stereochemical and regiochemical considerations are vital for controlling product formation in complex syntheses. The principles of homolytic and heterolytic bond fission extend far beyond textbooks, impacting industrial processes and biological systems. Industrially, homolytic fission is fundamental to free radical polymerization, producing common plastics like polyethylene, and in the cracking of petroleum. Heterolytic fission is crucial in various acid-base catalyzed reactions and the synthesis of pharmaceuticals. In biological contexts, homolytic fission is implicated in oxidative stress and the action of certain enzymes like those utilizing coenzyme B12. Heterolytic fission, leading to carbocation or carbanion intermediates, is central to numerous enzyme-catalyzed metabolic pathways, such as glycolysis and DNA repair. Even computational chemistry plays a role, modeling these processes to predict reactivity and design new catalysts. This demonstrates the pervasive and fundamental nature of bond fission in diverse scientific fields. Let's tackle the first set of challenging questions. Q1. Explain how solvation energy contributes to the feasibility of heterolytic bond fission in solution, even if the gas phase HBDE is very high. Q2. Using FMO theory, briefly describe how the interaction between the HOMO of a nucleophile and the LUMO of a CX bond can lead to heterolytic cleavage. Q3. A reaction proceeds via a free radical intermediate at a chiral carbon. What would be the expected stereochemical outcome? Justify your answer. Q4. Discuss the role of Lewis acids in promoting heterolytic fission, providing an example beyond simple alkyl halides. Q5. Compare the regioselectivity observed in free radical addition versus electrophilic addition to an unsymmetrical alkene. Good luck! Now for the final set of advanced questions. Q6. How can spectroscopic techniques like electron spin resonance, ESR, provide evidence for homolytic bond fission? Q7. Design a reaction scheme that involves both homolytic and heterolytic fission steps in its overall mechanism, clearly indicating where each type of fission occurs. Q8. In a biological context, describe an example where homolytic bond fission is crucial for an enzyme's function. Q9. What are the limitations of using only BD values to predict the ease of heterolytic fission? And Q10. Propose a scenario where computational chemistry would be indispensable for understanding a complex bond fission process that is difficult to study experimentally. Take your time, these require deep thought. You've journeyed through the intricate world of homolytic and heterolytic bond fission, from basic definitions to advanced mechanistic and energetic insights. This fundamental concept is a cornerstone of organic chemistry and crucial for your main success. For more such comprehensive educational content, practice questions, and in-depth explanations, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and to continue your learning journey. Keep exploring, keep learning, and excel in your studies.